Now, Kenya's media is vibrant and freer compared to other African countries, thanks to the constitution that includes protections for freedom of expression and the press. However, negative coverage is prompting some officials to go after their critics. And joining me in the studio to discuss Kenya's media's environment is VOA's Nairobi Bureau Chief, Daniel Schearf. Daniel, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther. Good to be here.
Now, from Moscow to Nairobi, how is the media environment in Kenya?
Well, there's certainly been some concerns recently in Kenya leading up to the elections and with the so-called swearing in of the opposition leader Raila Odinga, when we saw the authorities shut down temporarily a few of the major broadcasters for covering the so-called swearing in ceremony. That raised a lot of alarm bells, and there have been some concerns that this is not the only step being taken towards some of the media. But it's not just in Kenya that we're also seeing throughout the region. There's been a squeezing on the media, not just from some of the countries that we have seen it from for years, such as Ethiopia and Eritrea, Burundi and Rwanda. We're also seeing it in Tanzania, Kenya's neighbor. So there's a lot of concern that there has been a stepping back in media freedoms, and it's up to journalists and the communities to speak out and to ensure that this does not become a permanent situation or an ongoing negative trend.
You know, Daniel, you previously reported for VOA from Moscow, and I'm just wondering how the two worlds compare, because, you know, what you just said about Kenya, Tanzania, neighboring countries, Burundi, I mean, nothing seems to really be, you know, very, very good for the media right now, especially when you look at Kenya's political heat that just passed with the presidential elections. Seemingly this is now kind of past, and Odinga is kind of spearheading some peace efforts. How does actually that augur for Kenya's political climate right now?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting change of events in Kenya. There were, of course, a lot of tensions and a lot of concerns that things were going to get worse. And then we saw with the handshake between these two leaders, the president and the opposition, that there could be a way forward. And now he's been appointed as this peace envoy and taking a trip to South Sudan. Very interesting role for him. And it's, of course, been controversial among his own supporters. Some very outspoken opponents saying that he's sold out the opposition. Others who are welcoming it and saying, okay, this is a way forward. So we'll see. We just have to keep watching and seeing how it'll develop. But of course, you know, any kind of discussion and cooperation is a good thing compared to any sort of clashes that we might see on the streets, which is, of course, what everyone was fearing.
Now, I know you're in Nairobi, but you have plans to move around the region and look at issues there. What are the major issues we'll be looking forward to in terms of news coverage in the coming months in the region?
Well, it's such a diverse region, and also Nairobi is going to be taking on some of the coverage coordination duties for Africa as a whole. So we're talking about, 54, as you know. So it's many different cultures, it's many different issues. But we're hoping to concentrate on not just some of the major topics, but also some very interesting profiles of individuals. And not concentrating just on the problems that, of course, the continent is facing, but also looking at some of the innovators, the individuals who are taking steps to move their country, to move their communities in new and exciting directions. So it's a very wonderful challenge that I'm looking forward to.
I love that, you know, positive stories about the African continent, because what we see mainly from the Western media is usually very negative. Daniel Schearf, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Daniel Schearf is VOA Nairobi Bureau Chief.